going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Double Move channel. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video because last night was brutal. The Cowboys lose 44-30 to the Detroit Lions in a game that pretty much decided their playoff hopes. They were going to have a 40% chance after the game if they had won and a 9% chance now after they lost. So I got to talk about the game last night on live with Foots. I wanted to break down some winners and some losers from this game, and I think it gives us a good chance to talk about a lot of different parts of this team. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get into it. All right, we're going to start positive because I know a lot of us are down in the dumps about what happened last night. We're going to start positively with the winners from this game, and who better to start with than Ryan Flanoy. 9 catches, 115 yards, 1 touchdown outside of CD, who we are going to talk about in just a minute. Spoiler alert. He was your best receiver on the field all night long. If Pickens stays around, which I expect him to at least for 2026, depending on what Dallas does with his contract, the Cowboys have 3 legitimate wide receivers on their roster for 2026. We've been championing Flournoy since he was drafted. He's a legit weapon. He's a big body, and he's a big reason that Dallas was even able to score 30 points last night once CeeDee Lamb went out of the game. My second winner from this one, Brandon Aubrey. That man just made himself even more money than we knew he was going to be the highest paid kicker in NFL history. He might have just made another couple $1 million a year because he was fantastic. And another guy that kind of kept Dallas in the game for the most part. He was 5 of 5 on field goals. He hit from 63, 57, 55, 43, and 29. And then he was 1 of 1 on point after attempts. He broke the record for the most 60-plus yard field goals in a season with 3, and he's the first player in NFL history with 3 55-plus yard field goals in a single game. That's a guy we don't talk about enough about paying him. He's a free agent after this year, and he'll definitely get the highest paid kicker contract in NFL history. Right now, it's Harrison Butker, who got a total value deal of $25.6 million, making about $6.4 million per year. Aubrey is likely going to be in that $7 to $7.5 million range, might even hit $8 million, and then Harrison Butker has like $17.75 million guaranteed. Whatever. Dallas is going to pay him. How can you not? Once again, a guy that just kept you in the game, a legitimate weapon. If you're getting the ball on the 30-yard line, you need to move the ball approximately 25 yards to be in his range and at least put 3 points on the board. You cannot let that walk. He was exceptional last night, and if the Cowboys could have somehow pulled that game off, Brandon Aubrey was the MVP. Our next winner, CeeDee Lamb. Before halftime, he had 6 catches, 121 yards, a long of 27 on 8 targets. Let me repeat that real quick. Before halftime. It sucks that he had a concussion because he might have put up 250 yards against this Lions secondary if he had been able to play in the second half. There's 10 days of rest coming up until they play the Vikings. Hopefully he'll be all right and be good to play in that game because his season and momentum, it feels like it's just been getting derailed by injuries this year. Just when he starts playing well, it seems like he gets hurt, he gets rolled up on in the Bears game, misses a couple weeks, and then goes for a ball last night, a jump ball, and hits his head on the turf and suffers a concussion. It seems like he's kind of getting back to his normal 88 self and then has the injury. Hopefully he's all good, and in the next 10 days, he can play against the Vikings. It sucks, but he was fantastic last night. And then Dak Prescott, 31 of 47, 376 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and was sacked 5 times. Now, if you didn't watch the game and you just looked at the box score, you would say, okay, we had 376 yards, but those 2 interceptions kind of take away some of the good things that he did because you throw 2 picks and you lose by 14 points. But both of those interceptions bounced off of wide receivers' hands. Pickens and then Flanoy at the very, very end. All in all, with the pressure that he was facing, I thought he played as well as you could possibly hope for from a quarterback. Wasn't perfect, but he gave you a chance to win this game. Just the defense was playing like that, getting smoked every single drive. There's not much you're going to be able to do at that point if you get down 1 touchdown because Dallas works really hard to get down the field. kicks a field goal just for the defense in 4 plays give the Lions field goal range in 4 plays. So there's not much he can do. 400 plus yards of total offense, even with the field goals and some of the points that I felt like they left on the field. He did miss that one throw to CD. That's not the reason that you lost. 30 points and you still lose by 14. That you just can't put that on your quarterback. And I thought Dak was plenty good enough and one of the best players on the field last night in a game where you didn't have very many good players. So for our last winner, this is going to be a little bit different. This isn't a player. This isn't a coach. This isn't an owner, an executive, anything like that. This is for the Draft All Defense in 2026 fan club. Because as we get into these losers, you're going to see why I'm saying this. If you're in the fan club of we need to draft defense with every single pick, take a linebacker, take a corner, take a safety, take all defense in 2026, you're a winner in this one because this defense is far from fixed. Matt Eberflus needs to go, which we are going to talk about very briefly. They're still missing so many pieces at linebacker, at edge, at safety, at corner. If you're in the fan club of draft all defense, I would say that you're a winner from this game. Now let's get into the losers from this one. We're going to start from the top and then work our way down. All right. Brian Schottenheimer is at the top of this list. He's at the top of the team. He's, it's Jerry Jones and then him. And he just wasn't very good in this one at all. Early play calling was beyond conservative. Overall game management was poor. Having the team ready to play on a big stage, it wasn't there. The biggest game of the year, he wasn't good enough in this one as a play caller and as a head coach. Dan Campbell and the Lions came more prepared to play. Detroit was playing to win the game while Dallas was playing not to lose. There were some 4th down situations where you kick the field goal. Field goals aren't going to win you the game because your defense can't keep them out of field goal range. The defense forced them to punt twice. The rest were either a field goal attempt or a touchdown. At that point, you got to be going for touchdowns. You got to be aggressive. Schottenheimer has proven throughout the year when you look at other coaches around the league that he is not aggressive enough, and he wasn't good enough in this one as a play caller, just way too conservative. It took him way too long to realize that there was money to be made down the field against Detroit. I mean, I guess you could say that he was trying to protect the defense and keep them off the field and have these really long drives, but that's not how you succeed in the NFL with an offense. You can't. There was a time they had 16 plays and 45 yards on one drive. That is not sustainable. What are you going to do? Have a 25 play drive every single time, getting 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards. Those explosive plays are what have made the Dallas offense so good this year, and Schottenheimer got away from that. He didn't have the boys ready to play, and he was bad. Now let's move on to the DB room because I didn't pick a single player in this one. All of them were terrible. Marquise Bell, Savone Revel, who I just made a video about, who played good against the Chiefs. And actually, if you look at the advanced numbers from PFF and how many yards he gave up, I think he gave up like 2 catches on 3 targets for like 17 yards or something. It wasn't crazy. He had the touchdown on him. The numbers weren't insanely bad, but he wasn't good in this one either, especially on some of those 3rd downs where they're able to pick him up with J-Mo. He is a press man corner that they have playing in off-zone coverage, and you saw it last night. He's still a rookie coming off an ACL, but that doesn't excuse some of the plays that he gave up. Deron Bland got absolutely cooked. If you're watching this video, I'm really, really sorry. Jahmyr Gibbs had Bland's ankles stuck and left in Detroit. Your $90 million cornerback got juked out of the stadium. He started playing, what's that game called? Twister. He started playing Twister out there on the field on a 3rd down. Like, that's just how it was last night. Everyone was bad. If I left out a name, I'm really, really sorry. I don't think any of these guys were good in the very least, and that has to be a point of emphasis in the offseason. Free agency and the draft. They need legit corners, ball hawks, guys that can play the football, cornerback, safety. Like, you're stuck with Bland. Revel's going to be here. He was a 3rd-round pick. You like what you've seen so far, but you can't 100% rely on that. Reddy Stewart, I think, will be here. He's a solid piece in the slot. I doubt Diggs will be, but I guess we'll see. Regardless, they need help at DB. They're not good enough there. A lot of their issues last night, I know the defensive line wasn't getting a ton of pressure, but also your corners can't keep up with anybody. Corner, safety, because those guys have costed you all season long. Doesn't really matter who you have in there. And I think that also falls back on Matt Eberflus. If everyone on the defense is bad, your defensive coordinator is bad. I get it. He's had good defenses in the past. I know that he's shown some good things throughout his career. I don't really care. It's been abysmal this year. 44 points. Even if he were to, let's say, improve 25%, he's still gonna give up 30 points a game. I don't think it's all a personnel issue. I don't think it's all a Matt Eberflus issue, but he's proven that he's not good either. I want them to move on from him, and then in this draft, first of all, go out and get a DC, someone that actually fits the personnel that they have, and then draft the personnel that DC can use. You don't have to let him draft, but draft players that fit that scheme. That's how you improve the defense. Really quick, guys, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's show, Sleeper. I'm sure we're all going to be watching Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles are taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. And this is a really fun game on Sleeper because they're giving you a free pick with Jalen Hurts at half a passing yard. So we're going to go more on Jalen Hurts, more on field goals made with Cameron Dicker, not just for the pick, but because he's my fantasy kicker as well. And then we're going to go less than on Amarian Hampton touchdowns. His first game back, I'm not sure they're going to give him a ton of carries down towards the goal line or if he's going to play all that much anyway, so I'm going to go less. For this one, $10 wins $26, and they always have promos, a 50% boost that you guys can use to increase your chances. Make sure you go check it out. Sleeper, the best daily fantasy sports app on the market. Use my code DoubleMove. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Now, let's get back into it. Some more losers from tonight. And by the way, I'm not saying losers as in like, oh, these guys are losers. Just not good for their trajectory in the season, how they've gone so far, what it looks like for 2026. This is just, they didn't play well last night. Left tackle Nate Thomas and right tackle Terrence Steele. Dak was under pressure all night long because of those two guys. They allowed 14 combined pressures against a Lions defense that hasn't been good rushing the passer. Aiden Hutchinson has not been killing all these teams all year. He's not Myles Garrett or Micah in Green Bay. Like, they haven't rushed the passer well, and Dak was under pressure the entire game. Nate Thomas, I know Foot said this last night, Thomas got beat on every single rep. It felt like. There was one rep where he completely glitched, his controller died, and he looked inside, and the edge rusher literally just ran around him and then almost broke Dak's leg. Like, you just can't have that. They missed Tyler Guyton. I hope he's back for this Vikings game because the Vikings defense is good. I think it's better than the Lions defense. Their offense just stinks. So I have a couple more names really quick that I want to run through. That way this video isn't too long because you guys don't need 20 minutes of me being negative. Defensive line, I could just say the entire defense at this point. The Lions were down a number of offensive linemen, and there wasn't really any pressure on Goff past the first two drives. They couldn't get pressure. They let him sit back there and pick the secondary apart. When you can't get pressure up front and your secondary is playing as bad as those guys are, and Eberflus is terrified to get beat over the top, yet you're getting beat over the top every single time, you give up 44 points. This is a really interesting stat. The Cowboys pressured Jared Goff 4 times on his first 6 dropbacks, blitzing him 3 times. So blitzed him 3 times, got pressure 4. They pressured him just 4 more times over his next 29 dropbacks. I don't think Jared Goff is a great quarterback. If you get pressure, he will fold. Dallas couldn't get it. They pressured him just 4 times on his next 29 dropbacks, and they blitzed just 5 times of those 29. Once again, falls on Eberflus, but also you got to win your one-on-one matchups up front when the Lions are missing the offensive linemen that they are. And then finally, our last loser from this game, I got to tell you guys, I didn't want to put his name in here, but I had to. George Pickens. Regardless of what you think happened last night, the media isn't going to go easy on Pickens. The routes that he was running, not plucking the ball out of the air on some slants, letting it get into his body, letting the ball get knocked away, the fumble at the 2 or 3 yard line that Tyler Smith had to recover. I'm not that worried about it right now after this game, but if it continues over the next couple of weeks, then I will be concerned. He didn't play good last night. the offensive play calling was bad. They didn't have a plan for, okay, CD went out. Well, he was the only guy. I mean, he had 6 catches for 120 yards. Now what? Pickens has proven he can be that guy. The Lions were bracketing him. I think a lot of the routes that he was running is because they had a safety over the top. He knew that he probably wasn't going to get the ball based on the look that he was getting, and he got frustrated and kind of took himself mentally out of the game. I put him as a loser, not because I think, oh, okay, well, he's cooked. We don't need him past 2025. This is the George Pickens from Pittsburgh, all of that. But as far as being a loser in the eyes of the media and how they're going to portray him, they were just talking about him being a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Now it's all of a sudden, well, there's George Pickens. That's why the Steelers traded him. That's why Dallas shouldn't have made the move. Like, shut up. He's been so good. Like, yes, he had a terrible game. You can say that. He didn't try hard enough. He was pouting and mentally out of it. But also, come on. Like, are we going to flip up that hard? So if I forgot any winners, please let me know. I got a feeling that I did not. If I forgot any losers, let me know down below in the comments section. And, Matt Eberflus. What a brutal one. And I really do appreciate you guys for sticking around watching these videos. I know it's hard for me to watch Cowboys content after a loss. So for you guys to be here supporting the channel, watching me yap about how bad that was, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.